welcome to the Tough Cover Podcast on the Painted Lines with your host, Mark Henry Jr., the fifth ever edition live on the Painted Lines on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Thanks for joining the first morning edition of the Tough Cover Podcast. We'll see how this goes for these weekends. I know that there's just a lot of day games and a lot of early games, so I wanted to get this out there as soon as I can for you guys. We'll see how it goes. If you guys give me some positive feedback, I'll either stick with the morning, and maybe if you guys would rather have me go at night and preview the next day at night and recap the day, we can do that. But for the meantime, I want you guys to go follow at The Painted Lines on Twitter and subscribe to The Painted Lines on YouTube and Twitch. And last but not least, follow me at Mark Henry Jr. _ on Twitter and at Tough Cover Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Also, go follow me at Mark Henry Jr. _ on Clubhouse. I try to interact with some of you guys and try to get you to come here and watch and give your picks, because I know you guys got winners in the Clubhouse. Please leave your picks in the comments, and I will let you know my thoughts. I'll give you my opinion on it, if there's trends to back it up or to go against it. I started keeping track of the winners in the comments the other day, and it's been pretty much a lot of winners. So far, it's been a pretty good record for the comments, and obviously for me, I've had a great first week in the chair with the Tough Cover Podcast. Before we get to my action from Thursday, not last night because we didn't have a show last night, let's do a fit check. I'm rocking with the NFC South behind me. Peyton Manning, an all-time favorite of mine, is back there because I watched the SNL sketch last night where he's chucking the ball at the kids, and I was dying, so I threw him up there. And VY, Vince Young, one of my favorite and one of the best college QBs of all time. And there's a Tennessee tie-in to this show and to my best bet, so stay tuned for that. No show yesterday, like I said, but we'll talk a bit about Thursday. I went 4-3, went up a unit, hit a big parlay, which helped me out, or maybe up 2 units. I have to check the math on that, but I'm up 11 units on the week on the pod, trying to keep it going into today. But most importantly, my best bet, my play of the day, my lock of the night, moved to 4-0 on Thursday. I'm trying to get to 5-0 today. And I might even get a little risky. You guys will see soon what the best bet is. Rut Frog says, "Have a day, Mark." Let's go. We're trying to make money here, pal. We're trying to find some winners. So let's, without any further ado, I'm not going to go through my whole slate on Thursday. It's too far removed. There's no look ahead today. So it's going to be a pretty quick in and out podcast here. I'm going to give out my picks. I'm going to try to run through the big games. The only way to make it longer is you guys in the comments to ask me some questions, give me some picks, and let's have some conversation. Just because I have 3 straight bets in college basketball, 2 straight bets in hockey. I know, crazy. And then 1 bonus money line parlay. So I'll get started now without any further ado. To the thousands watching on the stream and the millions watching later on YouTube, let's get ready to gamble. We're starting it out with my straight bets at 2 o'clock. My first bet of the day is over 148.5 in Oklahoma State, West Virginia for 2 units. As you guys know, on Thursday, my best bet was the Oklahoma State over against Baylor. The over is now 14-8-2 in Oklahoma State games this year. In the games the Cowboys were an underdog, the over is now 9-2-1. The last 4 games have went over for Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State still plays at the highest adjusted tempo of any team in the Big 12. And obviously the big what if here, it's tough to talk about anything really about this game besides Cade Cunningham. The big what if is Cade Cunningham's status with his sprained ankle and if he's going to play here or not. I expect this game to go over comfortably either way, but I'd obviously rather have Cade Cunningham in the game, who scores over 20 a game and shoots over 40% from 3. Only 1 of West Virginia's top 4 scorers make less than 80% of their free throws, so you know they will convert on their attempts at the charity stripe. Oklahoma State is pretty good at the charity stripe as well, in the high 70%. So you know that neither team is a liability from the free throw line. West Virginia has hit their last 2 overs, 4 of their last 6 overs, and 8 of their last 10 overs. West Virginia is 17-8 on the over this year, while Oklahoma State is 14-8-2, like I mentioned earlier. So West Virginia, I've been riding Oklahoma State overs all year. Maybe West Virginia was the team I should have been riding the overs on all year. West Virginia's defense has really only showed up against the TCUs, the Iowa States, the Kansas States of the Big 12, not the tourney teams. When I actually took a deep dive and really went through West Virginia's schedule here, I came up with something pretty shocking in my opinion. West Virginia's last 13 games this year, 13 games against teams that are either on the bubble or in the tourney have went over. 13 in a row. 13 is a big number. That's a lot straight. Hopefully it's not an unlucky number and the trend continues here with some points in Morgantown. But what does that trend tell us? Why have 13 games went over in games that West Virginia's played a tournament type team? Close games breed overs. Better teams are more likely to play close games against West Virginia. I know that I say this all the time. People are probably bashing their heads against the wall hearing me say it, but every time I say it, it seems to come through. So close games breed overs. I expect this to still be close with or without Cade Cunningham. West Virginia plays close games against all teams worth their medal in going to the tournament. So even when Oklahoma State was missing Cade Cunningham earlier this year, they did still hang around with some good teams. So I expect them to hang around enough at least to clinch the over. I'm not on Oklahoma State spread. I would be if Cade Cunningham was fully healthy. So I'm going to skip my next game because it's my bet of the night. I'm going to save that for last. So let's move to the next one after that. At 3 o'clock, I have the LSU Tigers, go Tigers, versus the Missouri Tigers for 1.5 units. It'd be good for LSU to get a win here. Shout out Playboy Marty from Barstool. But it'd be good for LSU to get a win here after the absolutely terrible news that came out yesterday about Les Miles and all the stuff that they allowed him to do while he was coach at LSU. And he wasn't allowed to be in the same room as women student workers. So just an absolute mess that they covered that up for as long as they did. LSU's got a ton of issues going on. But they can distract the news a little bit, at least in Baton Rouge, with a big win here for the LSU men's basketball team. This is just a loyalty pick. I thought LSU was better than they are all year, and I still do. I bet on them in the right spots, and they've been great to me. I faded Missouri in the right spots, and that has been great to me, even though that Drew Smith guy really pisses me off to watch. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if it's hair. I don't know what it is. Drew Smith, when I have money against Missouri and he's going out there scooting around, scoring against me, really pisses me off. I think this is a big letdown spot for Missouri against Florida, which was actually a game I liked Missouri in, and I liked Florida, the team total under in. I kind of called it being close and low scoring when other people thought Mizzou might get smoked because Florida was hot, so I stayed away. But I did like Missouri to win that game, and they did. This time, I think Missouri's defense regresses to the mean against an absolutely nasty LSU offense, with Thomas getting 23 points per game and Smart shooting 44% from three. I don't believe in either team's defense here, so I'll go with the better offense, which is LSU. I think LSU is one of the best, for me, 5-6 offenses I've watched all year in the nation. If LSU wins, I've said this before, but officially, you hold me to this live on the air, I will be ordering either a Ben Simmons or a Shaq LSU jersey. I have some Simmons jerseys. I have some Shaq jerseys already. I'll put out a poll on my Twitter so you guys can vote if you'd rather me get a Shaq or Ben LSU jersey to hang it up behind me for the tournament. I got this at 1.5 last night. LSU plus 1.5. It has since went to 2. Obviously, I still like LSU plus 2. Don't really know the reason for the line movement. I think it was just a half point anyway. So I like LSU to win here and obviously to cover plus 1.5. Plus 1.5. So moving on to my bonus money line parlay. My bonus money line parlay plus money so far this year has been 2-0, and today is at plus 130. Before I get to that, let's pull up Justin's comment here. What'd you think about Florida State -7? Yeah, it's just a little bit too many points for me. Just barely too many. If it was like 4.5, I'd jump in on Florida State, or I'd at least throw in their money line. But they're playing Notre Dame, I believe, right? Let me check that, fact check on myself. Yeah, they're playing at Notre Dame. I'm actually seeing 6.5 now, so 6.5 is a better number than 7. But I like Notre Dame to keep it close with some of these teams, but Florida State is the class of the ACC, so I could easily see Florida State winning by 20. I stayed away from that game, but if I had to take a side, it would be Florida State. But I ended up staying away. So let's go back to the money line parlay. My money line parlay, like I said, is 2-0 so far this year at plus money both times. Today it's at plus 130. I have a Purdue Virginia money line parlay. Purdue to beat Indiana and Virginia to beat Louisville. So this is William says, any thoughts on South Alabama or Coastal Carolina? No. I can try to come up with some thoughts, but let's pull it up. South Alabama versus Coastal Carolina. That is certainly a money in the crumbs game. I respect the hell out of anyone betting on that game. But hey, I have a game coming up that's not too much crazier. I'm seeing that Coastal Carolina is playing Troy. Two separate games. Okay. So Coastal Carolina is a 9.5-point favorite against Troy. I have bet against Troy this year, so I do think Troy stinks. I'm seeing Coastal Carolina beat them twice in the last 2 weeks, one by 16, one by 5. So 9.5 is right in the middle of that. It probably makes perfect sense. I mean, I would go with the team that won the first 2 games above Troy anyway. South Alabama. Let's look up South Alabama real quick. So they are playing Louisiana Lafayette. That seems like I've bet on Louisiana Lafayette before this year, and I don't think they came through for me, but they weren't embarrassing. So I would stay away from that game personally. I think they're looking at common opponents. They both seem to have taken care of UL Monroe and Appalachian State. Yeah, I just think that's probably a bit fair, 1.5-point spread. So I wouldn't be touching either of those games personally, but I will be giving out a money in the crumbs / dumpster game quite soon if you stay in tune for my best bet of the day. So Purdue has been going back to my Purdue Virginia money line parlay. Purdue has been one of my 3 favorite teams all year, bar none. Indiana's 1-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 6, and 2-10 against quad 1 teams. Quad 1 teams is basically they take a certain metric that determines who the best certain amount of teams are, and those are the quad 1 teams, which Purdue is obviously a part of. Purdue is 4-0 straight up and against the spread in its last 4 games, and is 10-3 straight up since January 8th. It's 6-6 in quad 1 as opposed to 2-10 for Indiana. In the last 10 games between Indiana and Purdue, Purdue is 9-1 straight up and 7-2-1 against the spread. Additionally, Purdue is 3-0 straight up and against the spread in its last 3 against Indiana, and 3-0 straight up and against the spread in its last 3 against Indiana at home. Matt Painter, the coach of Purdue, one of my favorite coaches in the country, has also made it quite known how he feels about Indiana, saying he never wants to leave Purdue because he loved playing and beating Indiana too much. You got to love that. That's rivalry in college sports right there. I don't love the spread here because Purdue plays close games, but they win close games. So I feel great throwing Purdue's money line in here to boost Virginia's. Now we get to UVA at Louisville. Every time I bet on Louisville, they stink. Every time I bet against, they're amazing. So I'm kind of chasing Louisville here around the country, but the reason I like UVA to win this game is because in the 19 games they've been favored, they've won 16 games. They generally win the games they're supposed to, which is everyone's really down on Virginia. I could still see Virginia making a run. I know no one wants to hear that because no one likes the way Virginia plays, but I can still see Virginia making a run. Another reason I like them to win this game is their massive advantage at the foul line. Louisville is below average from the line, while UVA is one of the best and most efficient teams in the nation from the 1-point line, otherwise known as the charity stripe. As I've said all pod, threes and free throws win close games. UVA has the advantage of both. So if Purdue takes care of business and wins, I will have UVA at plus 130 against Louisville. Purdue, Virginia, money line parlay plus 130. Now let's talk hockey. This is the first time I'm talking hockey live on the Tough Cover podcast. I like the Columbus Blue Jackets money line plus 120 at the Dallas Stars for 1 unit. I took 2 nighttime hockey picks that are basically dart throws here. These are my first 2 hockey bets of the year. Columbus has won 2 in a row, while Dallas has lost 4 in a row. Elio, a guy I follow on Twitter, some of you guys know him as Mr. Ice. He's a Team Fortnite member and a big Stars fan, and he thinks they absolutely stink. Columbus just beat Dallas. Looking at some of the trends, there's been a lot of sweeps in these NHL back-to-backs. So I'll take Columbus as a plus money dog to beat Dallas again. I got it at plus 120. At 10 o'clock, I have the Calgary Flames money line versus the Edmonton Oilers for 1 unit. Anyone who's followed me during football and basketball season knows I'm big into the coach gets fired and the team comes out fired up theory. Got to take a sip of coffee here for the working man. As Stone Cold Steve Austin would say. I've been informed that Calgary's coach has been fired, so I'm riding the theory here. Calgary was always the non-Flyers team I used growing up in video games with Iginla, and I had a Flames shirt, and I knew Bret Hart was a Calgary guy and a Flames fan, so I've always had an affinity for the Calgary Flames. I also just think I like how the name Calgary sounded when I was a kid. I probably had never heard of it. Canada sounded cool. An article I read told me the Flames have a better goalie and a better defense, and Edmonton has lost 3 in a row. But in all reality, these are guesses and me attempting to start betting hockey. If I got to start somewhere with trying to find these trends in hockey. So I like Columbus. I like Calgary. Hopefully the Blue Jackets and the Flames go out and do that hockey, as Chance the Rapper would say. So now, all right, gotta get ready here for what everyone's been waiting for. Here's the big reveal, my best bet of the day, trying to get to 5-0. I've officially said if you get to 6-0, you can start calling it a streak. So I need 2 more wins to start calling it a streak. Right now, I'm trying to get to 5-0, one at a time. 230. I'm looking to the Southern Conference. SoCon. I'm going with Chattanooga money line versus East Tennessee State University for 3 units. Chattanooga has beaten ETSU twice already this year, and it just so happens I was on them both times, so I'm somehow signing up here to watch East Tennessee State versus Chattanooga for a third time. A third time watching ETSU Chattanooga. So I'm committed. I'm committed to the bankroll. Chattanooga has been better all year, especially against common opponents. The East Tennessee State Buccaneers come in after losing 5 of their last 6 games, while the Chattanooga Mocs have been even better as of late than they have been all year, covering 7 of their last 9 spreads and winning 6 of their last 8 games. Now let's break down their 2 failures to cover out of their last 9 here. Their one failure to cover was a minus 10-point spread in which they won by 6. No harm, no foul. They still won the game. And their other one was them being a 3.5-point dog and losing by 4. I was on them that game. It was a heartbreaker. But they've hung around in every single game or won every single game they've been in. Chattanooga has the advantage here in KenPom and RPI and averages more points efficiently from the 2-point line and the 3-point line. They have the 2 highest scores in the game, with David Jean-Baptiste and Malachi Smith, and the assist leader in the game with Malachi Smith. The big difference and the reason I like Chattanooga, though, as my best bet of the night and my play of the day and my lock of the day. I'll say day. I'm not going to go any crazier than that. But the reason I like them so much is the fact that they attempt more free throws and threes per game, shoot 3% better from 3, and get this, a whopping 9% better from the foul line. Close games are 1 from 3 and are 1 from the foul line. Just ask Dave Sander. And Chattanooga shoots more of both and does so at a much more efficient rate. Not to mention the fact that they allow less threes attempted and made against them. This line just doesn't make sense. They're better shooting the 3. They're better defending the 3. They're better from the foul line. They have the better top players. Like I said, close games are 1 from 3 and the line. And ETSU has lost 4 of their last 5 by an average of 1 point and have lost to Chattanooga by 2 twice. At some point, when it's this much of a trend, it goes past late game luck. ETSU has struggled to score in late game situations down the stretch due to being inefficient from 3 and the line. And it has cost them many games this year, and it's why they're hovering around 500. And I expect it to cost them today as well if it's close. Chattanooga has just been way too good for me. I'm a mock for life. I looked up why Chattanooga was the Mocs, or what a mock was, and it is a champion in the classroom. So these are real student athletes, folks. Hopefully Chattanooga can finish studying for their tests so these classroom champions can come play some basketball and be champions on the court. I expect Chattanooga to move on here in the SoCon tourney. This is on a neutral court, and nothing could make me happier in the SoCon than to see my Chattanooga Mocs win 3 games straight, win the SoCon tourney, and go dancing as a 12 or 13 seed, who I think would be serious trouble and a potential upset special. So that's my best bet of the day. Chattanooga money line versus ETSU. They are a 1-point dog. So I said, screw the 1 point, screw the 1.5 points, whatever it is. I'll go money line Chattanooga, money line versus ETSU for 3 units. Just hit the mic, but oh well, got excited. I love Chattanooga in this game. They are my best bet. So let's go through a couple of the games that I didn't have a pick in, but a couple of the games that I had leans in. William said, as a former mock, I love this. So why are you asking me about South Alabama and Coastal Carolina? Get on board with Chattanooga. Mock it up. Let's go, William. Get on board. I've been on Chattanooga all year. I'm happy to see I have an alumni in the chat here. I know my buddy Grant Galbraith on Twitter. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he's from the area of Chattanooga, so he's been big into my run with Chattanooga all year as well. Shout out to the Chattanooga Mocs. Let's go through the games that I don't have a pick in, but I have a lean in. First, got to talk about my Villanova Wildcats. Colin Gillespie, a kid from the area I'm from. One of my friends is cousins with him, so it's absolutely heartbreaking to see after last year him having the tournament taken away from him due to COVID, and then this year having the tournament taken away from him due to his knee. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. My Villanova spirits have really been kind of dampened, even though you see me here repping all Villanova for College Basketball Saturday. But it's really hard to see Villanova being able to do too much. The only way it can happen is really Jeremiah Robinson Earl being as good as literally only I think he is. I think he's incredible, but he's going to have to be a top 5 to top 10 player in the country for this team to really, really make a run at anything legitimate, in my opinion. So I think this line today against Providence is a little crazy. I've never bet against Villanova. I've never even really thought about betting against Villanova, I don't think. But 4.5 points for Providence here with David Duke, hell of a scorer who's going to give Villanova all they can handle without Gillespie. I think Providence wins the game outright. I can't pull the trigger and bet against Villanova. I also have a ton of games going on at 2, 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I don't want to add just another one. I'm staying away. I'll keep my eye on it. I think Providence covers and wins the game, though. I hate to say it as a Villanova fan. So let's move on to the other games that I have a lean in. You know, some games we already talked about Florida State. Pitt Clemson, my lean would be Pitt +8. I don't think Clemson scores enough to be 8-point favorites against anybody, but I retired from betting on Pittsburgh sports in 2021. Shame on me. Georgetown, UConn. UConn's a 9.5-point spread. Everyone knows I've loved UConn all year. I think UConn wins the game, but UConn lets teams hang around a little bit too much, and Georgetown screwed me a couple times going against them. So I think UConn takes care of business here, but 9.5 points is just a little bit too rich for my blood. So let's keep going. Navy -5.5 versus Loyola Maryland. So I actually think that's interesting. Navy money line could be an interesting parlay booster for sure. I think they cover the 5.5 there too. Navy's been pretty good all year, so I think Navy should take care of business there. So we keep moving. A little other SoCon picks. Citadel +11 at UNC Greensboro. I kind of like the Citadel there. UNC Greensboro is a defensive team, so I can see them mucking that game up and the Citadel hanging around. But the Citadel have not been very good lately, so I understand the line being where it is. Not really seeing anything else that jumps out to me here. You know, Alabama, Georgia. Bama's an 8-point favorite. They should handle that. 8 points is probably a correctly set line, though, in my opinion. Illinois, Ohio State, that's a huge game. I've never seen a bigger stay-away game in my life. Illinois, obviously, are they going to be with or without Ayo Dosunmu? Ohio State's coming off a few losses in a row, so you think it's a bounce back for them, -2, Ohio State. So, but then again, Illinois, you would have thought they would have got their doors blown off them by Michigan, and they blew Michigan out. So who knows with this Illinois team? I'm going to stay away. USC at UCLA. I know Greg Hoops Peterson, one of my favorite guys to look to, absolutely loves USC in this game. These are two teams I've been on all year and I've liked all year. I do really like USC to win this game. If it was closer to a pick'em or if USC was even getting a point, I'd probably be on it for small unit play. But it being 2.5 points, like UCLA plays a lot of close games. Let's pull this comment up. Aram, how do you feel about the Mavs winning the championship at 51 times? I don't know what 51 times means. I'm assuming that it means they're plus 5,100. That 51 to 1 or whatever you want to say. I think I get the value in it. I love Luka Doncic, as everyone knows. I don't think the Mavs are beating either LA team in the playoffs. The Mavs didn't improve enough this year. I don't like what they did in terms of swapping Seth Curry for Josh Richardson. I think you're seeing how much Seth Curry meant to that team with their lack of shooting. Jalen Brunson has stepped up recently. Shout out Villanova. And he's been their third best player and sometimes their second best player when Kristaps has been hurt or not good enough. I just don't think they have quite enough horses to hang and even winning one playoff series personally. So I hope to see them make a run. There'd be nothing that would make me happier outside of the Sixers than Luka Doncic going to the finals. That would be incredible. I love Luka. I haven't loved what they've done to surround him with talent. I know that they had to give up picks for Luka and they had to give up picks for Kristaps, but I would have loved if they would have made a run at trying to get Miles Turner this offseason or someone to come in and help them out and shore up their defense. They really need someone to come in, especially shore up their interior defense for them to really have a chance to win a title, in my opinion. I think they're 1 or 2 years away and a couple players away. So moving on, Drake is a 1.5 point favorite against Missouri State. That seems like a weird line to me. Let me pull that up real quick. Did Drake just lose last game? Yeah, Drake lost to Bradley, who I know was missing players. So that's a tough loss. Yeah, I can't back Drake there. Another game that's like, I don't know what to do here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say it. I've never done this. Usually, I come ready to go with all my research and my picks. The Butler Bulldogs plus 12.5 at Creighton. I'm locking it in right now. Butler's gonna hang with Creighton like they hung with Villanova earlier. Actually, you know what? Call it off. Call off the Dogs. I'm not locking it in. I forgot that Butler's terrible on the road. I'm not doing it. The reason I was going to do it is because Creighton has an absolute mess going on with their head coach saying, I think, like racist stuff. So he's kicked off right now. He's suspended. So they have an assistant coach stepping up. That could either go if they come out completely flat or they come out completely, fired up and hating their head coach who's not there anymore. Let's see what Aaron says about the Rams here. If Dirk beat LeBron in his prime when LeBron was on the Heat super team, Luka will do the same, if not better, against all odds, like Dirk did. Yeah, Dirk had a way better team around him than Luka had. Dirk had guys who knew their role, and Dirk had role players. It was also a much worse NBA and a much worse Western Conference. You look at the Trailblazers they beat. You look at the Trailblazers they'd have to beat now. It's way different. I just think that the strength in the league has gone way up. The super teams obviously help it out. You look at teams like the Jazz. You look at teams like the Lakers. And by the way, Anthony Davis right now is like pretty considerably better than either Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh were when LeBron James played with Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh. I think the Lakers, honestly, at a fully healthy team, I think the Lakers are one of the best teams LeBron's ever been on, if not the best team LeBron's ever been on. I think Anthony Davis is the best player he's ever played with at this point in their career. By the time he got to play with Dwayne Wade, I don't think Dwayne Wade was at the caliber player Anthony Davis is right now. And Kyrie Irving, I don't think Kyrie Irving makes enough of an impact on the defensive end to be on the level that Anthony Davis is. And I know Kyrie helped LeBron win a title. So did Anthony Davis. So I don't really get why people would say it like that. So I think Anthony Davis, this season, every team could be a playoff team. Yeah, there's been a lot of parity, but I still think the teams at the top are really strong. The Lakers, the Jazz, the Clippers, the Sixers, the Bucks, the Nets. I think those 6 teams one of those 6 teams will win the finals. Maybe you want to expand it to the Suns. I'm willing to listen to the Suns. I'm willing to listen to an argument about Phoenix being a title contender. But outside of that, I really can't stretch my mind to think. Like I liked Portland as a dark horse title contender before the year. I don't really see it anymore, to be quite honest. So I'm gonna finish up getting through my leans here, and then I'm going to go through my card for anyone who wasn't in at the beginning, and then I'm going to head out of here. Obviously, a big name, Duke UNC. UNC a 2.5 point favorite. I think UNC takes care of business here. St. Louis at St. Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure's a 2-point dog at home. I'd probably go with the I don't know. Is that the A10 tourney? That's actually the A10 tourney. Yeah, it's the A10 tourney. So that's not at home. I would still take the Bonnies +2 here. Anything else jumping out to me? I just got informed that Joel Embiid is committing to donate 100,000 of his winnings on All-Star Weekend to 3 homeless shelters in the Philadelphia area. He's just the absolute best. So let's look at a couple other games that I have some leans in. Seton Hall against St. John's. These are both teams on the bubble. I still think St. John's is the better team, so I would go St. John's +1.5. Did I expect Utah to be that good? Absolutely not. I did not expect Utah to be that good. I kind of expected Portland to be the team that took that jump, and everyone was like, "Oh, what a great regular season team!" And I thought Portland would hang as that 2 seed. If not Portland, I thought it would be Denver. I actually thought Utah would take a step back. So I'm pretty surprised to see Utah. I actually thought Dallas could be a team that would have taken that step forward if Luka just went supernova. Luka has not improved enough defensively, and again, the rest of the team around him is just not good enough. Mark Cuban did not do a good enough job surrounding them with talent. I hate the Seth Curry for Jay Rich trade. Josh Richardson is like a lost puppy now at this point. He needs to get back to Miami. So Vanderbilt at Ole Miss. Vanderbilt +9 here would be my initial lean in that game. Vanderbilt helped me out the other night and covered. Ole Miss is a defensive team, so they do keep games low scoring. I could absolutely see Vanderbilt covering that spread. And if I'm up going into 7 o'clock, who knows? I might throw in a bet on the Vanderbilt Commodores. I'm trying to finish it out here. Anything else I'm seeing that's standing out to me? Davidson, VCU. If I had to take a pick, it'd be VCU -1.5 there. I'm trying to get to the Mountain West for my guy Big Ev. Utah State at Fresno State. Utah State's a 9-point favorite. I don't want to take 9 points here, but I do think Utah State wins that game and moves on in the Mountain West tournament. So let's go through my card. Over 148.5, Oklahoma State, West Virginia for 2 units. Chattanooga, best bet, money line for 3 units. LSU +1.5 at Missouri for 1.5 units as well as +1.5. My 2-way money line bonus parlay is Purdue, Virginia at +130 for 2 units. And then my 2 hockey dart throw bets is the Columbus Blue Jackets money line +120 at the Dallas Stars for 1 unit, and the Calgary Flames money line +120 at the Edmonton Oilers for 1 unit. Thanks to everyone for joining. Smash that subscribe button. Subscribe to the Painted Lines on YouTube and Twitch. Follow at the Painted Lines on Twitter, and follow me at Mark Henry Jr. _ like you see in the display, wrong way, in the display right there. And please, last but not least, follow at Tough Cover Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for being a part of the Tough Cover Click today, and enjoy the winners.